Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about the impact of Chatgpt by OpenAI on Google. The members of this presentations are Tinyu, Shane, Natasha, Evans, and German.
Now, what is the problem? According to recent events, Google has declared themselves and read a code due to the implementation of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a solution that is based on large language models, which is written with deep learning algorithms and understands written language. In ChatGPT, users make requirements in a written way and receive short and concise responses in a friendly manner, simple and without the need of browsing in different websites or different sources. This has created a lot of problems for Google due to the influence this could have on consumers and their behavior towards browsing, making it more simpler and more specific rather than having to do the tasks of finding responses in different types of websites or even different sources.
On this slide, we display a case that compares ChatGPT and Google search to a simple question like how to make a chocolate cake. Here we can see characteristic mentioned earlier for each solution. The ChatGPT gives a direct answer to a question that can be used instantly, while Google requires a user to analyze the output and the path of the further information search. The ChatGPT response illustrates the potential benefits of implementing tool and make web searching more transparent, responsive, and proactive in addressing users' needs and concerns.
The force field analysis is a model that identifies the forces in favor of and against change given a specific situation or context, making positive and negative scenarios comparable for decision making, prioritizing action and highlighting the source of difficulty. In this case, we will consider forces for and against embracing the LLM model in Google. Growth within the tech industry. There has been much growth recently in the tech industry through these LLMs and other data management tools. Easier way to find information. It allows employees to be more efficient at work and improves the performance of Google services. It improves upon Google's search engine, which is useful because it gives users what they are looking for. Customers want LLMs. Users want convenience, and LLM models provide this for them over traditional search engines. Current cost of production. LLMs can reduce Google's current cost of production by making employees more efficient. It can also help optimize a number of tasks related to Google's data model. New competitors to overcome. Google has held crisis talks and were on code red as LLMs are currently seen as a legitimate threat to Google's business model. It allows them to embrace the competition of their new competitors and overcome new competitors who do not exist on their radar yet. Competitive advantage. It can add to Google's competitive advantage of being the most famous and used browser in the world by making their product better. Google has held a de facto monopoly in the sector for a long time. If they choose to embrace the model, they can keep their name and infamy. Increase usability. The current browser of Google will not be able to compete with high-level LLM models. If they continue to improve at their current rate, having a model that is easier to navigate is crucial for the success of the search engine. Inclusiveness. As we have seen in a previous slide, LLM models are easier to use than search engines, such as the question on how to make a cake. It is easier to navigate and understand the questions without proper introduction.
Forces against change are the restraining forces that make change difficult. They hinder change because they influence the behavior of groups and individuals, keeping them away from the desired direction. The forces against change in ChatGPT may include employee culture, job security, cost of implementation, bias, transparency, and job security. This happens because change is inevitable in any business setting. Google may need to restructure the organization of the company to improve profitability. During these changes, Google may encounter resistance from employees when they try to implement structural or cultural changes in the organization. From an employee perspective, change can seem like a negative thing. Other reasons may include fear of the unknown, poor communication of the types of business changes, lack of trust in business executives. Huge amounts of investments are made in technology. Consumers' tastes or environmental policies bring about this cost in investment. Resources are really scarce, and Google Maps will not be able to respond to change at the moment. So, to provide a solution to all this problem, during the process of change, regardless of how quick it is, employers are supposed to gather feedback from different levels of the organization by making an effort to understand how the change is received by employees and make sure that they are satisfied in their roles. Give training and upskilling opportunities to employees to help them feel confident in their growth.
Furthermore, to understand how the company is changing, it's important to make a diagnosis. The data collected in this stage is going to be analyzed and processed for improvement in change management. The sample size of interviews are going to be 30 employees that correspond to the Google's AI division. This is due to the fact that according to Bodhi 2016, an accurate sample size for a case study is from 15 to 30 people. As an example, some questions that will be done during these interviews are: what do you think the consequences of change will be? How do you assess the need of the change for an organization? Do you think there will be employees resistant to this change? How do you ensure that employees are given the opportunity to provide feedback and suggestions during the change process? How do you want to be involved in the change process? And what is your attitude towards change? The second method we're going to use are surveys, in this case done to 800 employees of Google. The questions are going to be in two formats: a Likert scale and also multiple choice for those that are demographic related. The questions in Likert are scaled from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and this will measure a perspective of internal uncertainty and also change. As an example, we have Google provides employees resources for development of LLM models. Google capacitates employees to acquire the know-how of LLM models. Employees are satisfied with the internal organizational management. Google has a risk-responsive organizational structure.
Here you can find more suggested questions for the surveys.
In Google, resistance is primarily related to the employees, so it's important to plan and anticipate employee resistance to change. During this process, there are three main types of resistance. Firstly, is logical and rational resistance. This is the outcome of disagreement with rational facts, reasons, logics, and science. During the change process, employees may care about the time required to adjust, and if they need to do more efforts to have new knowledge and skills. They also want to do the possibility of a less desirable condition. Secondly, it's psychological and emotional resistance. This is typically based on emotion and attitude. It is internally logical from the perspective of the employee's feelings and attitude about change. When they are faced with change, they instinctively have the fear of the unknown, may have a low tolerance for change, dislike management, lack trust, and need security. Finally, it's sociological resistance. This happens when it is seen as the product of a challenge to group interests, norms, and values. In Google, there is the work friendship and relationships that may disrupt by change. For example, to develop a better plan to face the competition of Chatgpt, the marketing department is divided into two teams. The team with the better proposal will be rewarded. Competition within the same department sometimes may therefore warm working friendships.
When a plan rolls out too fast or it is too ambitious, the entire effort will collapse. It is important for Google to navigate the change and identify how much the employees can handle the change. Firstly, communicating often and listening carefully to employees are very important. Let employees know about the change to the status quo and explain the reasons behind the change to get the understanding, compliance, and cooperation. Then communicate one by one and listen to their responses and identify their emotions. Next, educate employees on the value of the change. Let employees know the importance and the meaning of the change for the company. Teaching employees knowledge about need for change and training them for updated duties may help them reduce the fear of the unknown and adapt to change even if they don't like it. Finally, make strategic planning and ask for feedback from employees along the way.
Finally, we share our references in case of any questions or doubts. Thank you.